DVD updates, where today we look at Star Trek The Next Generation on Blu-ray. Welcome back. So let's take a look at this. It still has the original kind of paper thing that came with it. So this includes the 4 Next Generation movies, plus a bonus disc, over 7 hours of previously released content, and 3 hours of all new special features. To be honest, it's not quite 3 hours, but they do have some stuff on there. So in just a minute, we'll take a look at the individual movies. And this is what it looks like with the case open. Kind of this cover. Of course, Paramount's usual collection of inserts. This is for Blu-ray Live with latest Star Trek pamphlet, and this shows also that the movies are all also available as single release Blu-rays, although they're a lot cheaper if you just buy them with the set. There's a quick look at them right there. First one, Star Trek Generations from 1994. And I actually remember this as probably being one of my most eagerly anticipated movies ever. I'd been into Star Trek since before The Next Generation aired, watched the entire series from first episode to the end. Then, of course, I wanted to see how it transferred to the big screen. And, of course, this movie included William Shatner in Captain Kirk's famous death scene. I don't suppose it's a spoiler by mentioning that because, well, it's been 15 years, so I'm sure anyone who cares knows that Kirk was dead, except for when he brought himself back in his own novels, or I should say William Shatner brought him back. And there you go, remastered 1080p, high definition, special features, also high definition. The only beef I really have with these re-release sets of the movies, when you buy them in the box, they don't come with the original artwork. They kind of just come with these little character things. But I guess that's just a minor quibble. But anyway, so that was Generations. I think most people generally were kind of disappointed with it. I don't know, I actually saw it twice in the theater. I don't mind it myself, and kind of the big shock of when they destroyed the Enterprise and all that in there, which is something that no one actually saw coming until they watched the movie. But definitely worth checking out. Then, followed by what most believe to be the best of the Next Generation movies, and actually one of the best of the Star Trek movie series altogether, Star Trek First Contact, released 1996. Brought back the Borg, also premiered the new Enterprise E, which, for behind-the-scenes reasons, the reason why they destroyed the Enterprise D in Generations was because they wanted a new ship that they could redesign and use for the movie series. And, of course, you can tell in Generations, they made some alterations to the ship from the series, but I think by that point they thought it was a little dated. Anyways. Here's the opposite side. All these are obviously 1080p. Now, I haven't actually checked with these to see if it's the same problem that existed with the original movie series, where only Star Trek II is actually really remastered in 1080p, although I have watched these, and I don't know, the picture looks, well, about as good as it can get to me, but I'm sure someone will debate with me on this, and of course, more of the high-definition series, or high-definition special features. Anyways, that is Star Trek First Contact. If you're looking for one movie in particular to pick up, to check out, this is probably the one I'd suggest, and the one that most people would suggest. Kind of where the controversy begins. Star Trek Insurrection. And I should say all of the Next Generation movies I saw, well, the first 3 I saw twice in the theater. The final one I only saw once. Anyways, Insurrection. Now, I've always liked this one. Really kind of a lighter story, I found. Sort of classic Trek, but a lot of people hated this movie. This came out in 1998, and I think this was kind of the beginning of the end when Star Trek started to fall big time in popularity. More special features. And of course, this is a movie where Jonathan Frakes shaves his beard off for some reason. But I don't know, it's worth seeing. I will admit it's not the level of First Contact, but it is still a highly watchable movie. It become really controversial. Star Trek Nemesis, which unfortunately, although it hadn't really been known, although it had been speculated at the time, this was the farewell mission of the Next Generation crew. And it was kind of unfortunate because Nemesis, it has its strong points. In terms of special effects and all that, it is worth watching it just for that. But unfortunately, with this movie, the script just, I don't know, wasn't Star Trek. It was written by the guy who did Gladiator, whose name is, I'll tell you in a moment. Yeah, sorry, John Logan. And at the time, I remember from watching interviews from the first DVD release, he wasn't a Star Trek fan, hadn't really watched it, and I think it shows because it's not really a Star Trek movie. My biggest gripe with all this is all the actors seem to be playing completely different characters, really, in this movie from what they did in the TV series in the first three Next Generation movies, and I've watched this several times over the years. This came out in 2002, 4 years after Insurrection, and like I said, I've watched it several times, and just it's never really felt like Star Trek to me. It's kind of like the one movie that doesn't fit. Still watchable, but ultimately disappointing, and I wish this crew, considering all the success they had with the TV series in the first few movies, I think they should have had something a little better to go out on. And then the set also comes with Star Trek Evolutions, which is just kind of a bonus disc within the set. Your Evolution of the Enterprise, it's like a 14-minute tour of the various Enterprises films of Star Trek. Never watched that one, actually. I love Star Trek movies, and that's like 5 minutes long. Farewell to Star Trek The Experience. In case anyone doesn't know, that was the kind of Star Trek show, or live action show, or whatever you want to call it, where you were kind of part of the action that they had running in Las Vegas from 98 to 2008. And then examples of they bring you through kind of the two live show things, and then Charting the Final Frontier, which actually, come to think of it, that I have not watched either. Perhaps someday I will. Anyways, so that is Star Trek, The Next Generation, Blu-ray re-release box set.